Today we're working on my 2007 Porsche Cayman. This process should be the same for all 987 and 986 models. We are changing the climate control and fan buttons. You'll notice that mine are pretty worn out. It's right here and then right here. I'm going to go over to the workbench and go over some tools you'll need. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and we'll get started. We're over at the workbench right now. I'm gonna go over some tools you'll need. You're gonna need a 1/4 inch ratchet, some type of extension, a T30 bit, T20 bit, and of course you can use the ratchet here. You can use battery powered. I prefer battery powered. The items I decided to go with, these are from Cayman Repair. I'm sure you've seen it online, and if you haven't, this is the most affordable option I've seen with replacing the buttons. Most folks have to replace the entire head unit or AC unit system, and it's about 700 bucks. These are by no means cheap. They're 169 for both these plastic pieces, shipped, and I believe it's from the UK. So we're over at the passenger side here. I'm gonna remove some of the bolts. Put the camera down. You're gonna need your T30, there's screws right here, and then there's gonna be 2 T20s up here. That came off easy. You can disconnect the cigarette lighter. I'm not going to do that for mine. Back it up a little bit. This should slide right off. There's a clip on the bottom, there's a clip on the top. See the clip 1, 2, and 3. Now I want to go over to the driver's side, do the exact same thing, T30, and then there's going to be 2 T20s right here, and then just pull it off slowly. It should be the exact same setup. I'm going to speed past that. As I mentioned, the process is the same for both sides. This is just to show you the other side has now been removed as well. I'm inside the car right now, so you'll notice that on both sides of the unit, see this piece right here? There's one on this side and the exact same thing on the other side. You just have to push them together and then this should pull right out, but push them in at the same time. Okay. All right, pull it out smoothly. I'm just gonna disconnect the harnesses back here. Just pull it straight out. As you get these harnesses out, you'll notice each one has this little button at the top. Push it in, and that's how you get it off. Do the same thing with the red one. There it is, now it's free. Now we're going to take this over to our workbench and examine it. So we're now over at the workbench. This is what the unit looks like once you remove it. There's going to be 4 screws you have to remove on the edges. It's just 1, 2, 3, and 4. This was kind of difficult for me because I had to go buy a Torx 6. Oops, T6. I'll put it in the description. I don't know if you can see it. So we're just going to take these off. I like to get something to help contrast it so I can see where the screws are. So go ahead and take all 4 off on the edges. All right, all 4 screws are off. Now just carefully pry it apart. Don't tug on it too hard. There's a little band that holds it. So an update, you're gonna have to remove these 2 screws right here for this little fan. Take these 2 screws off. Once you remove those 2 screws, the little fan pops right off. Once you get that off, there's 9 of these screws on the back of the circuit board. Take all of them off. And if you can't remember all this, make sure you take pictures. I'm expecting this to come off pretty easily. Just move slowly and carefully. We're just trying to separate this tray. Success. Now put this somewhere safe. Again, pay very close attention to the orientation so you know what goes where. Now we're going to need a set of tweezers, or not a set, but some tweezers, and then just like a flathead screwdriver. So we're trying to get these buttons off at this point. So here, you get your tweezers. We're trying to separate this white part right here from the black anchor that holds it in place. I just kind of jam my tweezers in there to kind of push them apart. And once I have that in there, I can push these little plungers out. There you go. First one done. I'm going to go put in the new temperature here in just a moment. Here's the old, there's the new. And with these new ones, it's supposed to not scratch off as easily, and it's made out of a different material. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in. So before you reinstall the new one, make sure you put this little plunger back in. Oops, that's the old one. That's the new one. Here it is. Perfect. Now do the exact same thing for the other side. I just got the other side out, putting these back in. Again, make sure the plungers are in, going the right direction. The flat side should be facing towards you. All right, now we're going to put everything back in together. This little rubber gasket housing piece. Easiest way is to align these big rectangular ones to the outside part of the buttons. And pretty much it'll line up. Just kind of pushing it down softly before I put the circuit board back on. Okay. Line all this up. I'm going to flip it this way. And then just tighten all the screws up. I like to do the outer ones first, just so that it holds it in place. Let's go all around, hand tight. I don't torque mine. As I mentioned, tighten all the ones on the outside first. And don't put it all the way down, get all the screws in first, and then we're going to tighten them. Okay, got all those bolts back on. Now I'm going to slowly put back onto this little casing right here. Oops. Make sure it all lines up. Again, don't make them all tight just yet, because we're just trying to get everything back where it needs to be first. I'll keep screwing them in and fast forward. Put the fan back on. Make sure those 4 prongs right there. Oops, I don't know if you can see it like that. Meet up to this bottom part, and go ahead and wipe this down as well. Don't just shove it in. All right, got my fan back on. Just double checking everything before we go back and reinstall it. This is what this bad boy looks like now. Nice and refreshed. Let's go ahead and get it back reinstalled. So we're back in the car right now, about to reinstall everything. Make sure that these harnesses go into the right slots. Don't just push it in there. You don't want to damage the little prongs. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure to give me a thumbs up. I'm not going to show the complete reassembly because it's the same thing but just in reverse. So if you're up to this point, you should know how to put it back together. See you in the next one. All right, guys, here is the finished product. As you can see, everything works just fine. Make sure to hit subscribe.